My sister won't let me attend her wedding because my dress is the wrong color.
Is it white?
It's nude. My oldest sister, Elaine, 31 female, is marrying her fiance of 4 years, Stefan, 35 male, in October 2022. I, 25 female, am the youngest of our 4 sisters and have always felt we were close growing up. By the way, this comes from Annabelle, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So in May, Elaine asked our second sister, Gabriella, 29 female, to be her maid of honor, which made sense since they've always been especially close. My third sister, Celia, 26 female, and I expected to be bridesmaids as well, but instead Elaine chose to include Stefan's daughters, Tiffany, 12 female, and Sasha, 8 female, to be in the bridal party. While we were a little disappointed, we ultimately respected that it was her special day. But in July, while visiting our mom, I overheard Elaine and Gabriella discussing wedding plans. Excited for my sister's big day, I asked about the wedding colors, and Elaine mentioned that she wanted something bespoke and non-traditional for her dress, which I thought suited her style. Still, I assumed it would be white, but since I wasn't a bridesmaid, I had no way of confirming this color choice. When I texted Gabriella to ask, she ignored my messages saying it was supposed to be a surprise. Well, by August, I decided to play it safe and I ordered a simple knee-length asymmetrical white dress online. Before purchasing, I sent a picture to Gabriella, who should note the colors I see you,
sis.
but she left me on red. I then asked Celia for her opinion, another sister, and she reassured me that since the dress wasn't floor length, it should be fine to wear. When the dress finally arrived last week, I thought I was all set until everything took a turn. Well, after my dress arrived, I sent pictures to everyone and Elaine completely freaked out. She called me 7 times while I was at work, and when I finally answered, she yelled at me, saying that I was an awful sister for stealing the spotlight from her new stepsisters. Apparently, Tiffany and Sasha, our little kiddos, were supposed to be the only ones wearing yellow so they would feel special. Now, I told Elaine that if I ordered another dress, it wouldn't arrive in time, but she insisted I go to a bridal store and buy a different one. I explained that I'd already spent $50 on the dress and wasn't willing to drop another $200 on a boutique dress, maybe try not being poor. She called me selfish and said that I shouldn't bother attending her wedding if I didn't change my outfit. Now the rest of the family is saying I'm the bad guy for taking away attention from 2 little girls on their dad's wedding day, and I should just stink it up for my sister. Really quick, I just have to ask, could she just not have another dress? Like, is there a dress in her closet that would work? I mean, I guess that's not a wedding dress. I don't know.
Well,
but like,
she doesn't need a wedding dress. She just needs a bridesmaid dress, right?
she's not even a bridesmaid.
Or just a I don't know, a different dress.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, she just needs a different dress.
So I'm like, I feel like that should be possible.
Should that be easy?
I think so. I mean, it's kind of on. OP asked everyone for the dress colors, and no one got back to her. So that's on everyone.
But I guess maybe OP wants to like wear a specific thing for the wedding, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's got me feeling like this.
Ooh,
I feel like there's
ooh. Many have suggested I could go to Goodwill to find another dress. I actually offered this to Elaine, but she refused, saying this is my wedding, not a Walmart. I also suggested wearing an old pink homecoming dress.
I feel like she's giving pretty good. I feel like this woman's just being difficult.
We're getting to solutions.
Yeah.
But Elaine shot that down too, because Gabriella is wearing pink. Well, what colors are left? Stacy is wearing purple. Great. You know,
Where would... I feel like we're getting into Bridezilla territory.
We're getting into Bridezilla territory. And she didn't want us dressed alike, even though Celia was already wearing a similar pink dress. I could try to thrift something, but Elaine insists she wants to pick the dress herself to make sure I don't ruin her wedding. After dyeing my yellow dress, I don't want to risk spending another $50 on fabric dye just for it to turn out wrong, leaving me out $100 and still without something to wear on my sister's wedding in early October. Elaine's wedding was this past Tuesday, and as many people suggested, I wore my old homecoming dress, which was a pink knee-high length dress. In the days leading up to the wedding, my mom and Elaine called me nonstop to tell me that if I wore a yellow dress, I wouldn't be allowed into the wedding, and that Elaine should be the one to pick my dress from a bridal shop. As many people suggested, I told Elaine that if she wanted to pick my dress, she could pay for it too. Elaine became extremely annoyed with me for my response, as it was disrespectful to her personally as a bride, quote unquote, and that I should be more understanding about how expensive weddings are. I reminded her that she was the one who wanted a large black tie wedding and that no one forced her to be so controlling over colors and outfits. Elaine then proceeded to block me via text, but clearly told our family what I said, because I continued to receive texts from our mom and Gabriella, who told me I was rude and that the wedding planning is stressful and I should be more accommodating. Now, I told my mother and Gabriella that if Elaine wanted to be so controlling about my dress, she could pay for it, or I would wear my old homecoming dress, we have solutions that are free. That shut up both my mom and Gabriella, and I didn't hear anything else about the topic of dresses from them until the morning of Elaine's wedding. So on the day of Elaine's wedding, I waited 10 minutes while my mother refused to send me the directions to the wedding venue.
Wait, so they're icing her out. That's crazy.
This is crazy.
That's crazy.
This is crazy. And she said she couldn't do it because she didn't know how. Eventually, I gave up on my mom and asked Celia to send the directions instead because clearly our mom wanted me to miss the wedding. At this point, I considered not attending the wedding at all, but I figured if I attended, my family couldn't say that I lacked effort or was being petty towards my sister. Now, when I arrived at the wedding venue, most of the guests were already there. As I said, Elaine planned to have 100 people at her wedding, and since she hadn't specified that no one should wear yellow, there were at least 10 people present wearing yellow.
Yeah, of course.
One of whom was Stefan's mother, aka the grandmother of the two little girls in the wedding wearing the yellow dress. And the whole point was no one was allowed to wear yellow other than them to make them feel special.
They're just making problems.
Problems are being made. No solutions are being accepted. But anyways, the real drama started when the rest of our extended family arrived at the wedding. My mother's brother began talking to me and said that he was glad that I managed to get a new dress and that the yellow wasn't my color anyways. So I asked him if he thought it was appropriate for his sister, my mother, to wear white on her own daughter's wedding, to which he didn't reply. I got dirty looks from the other family members and mean comments about how cheap I was and how much audacity I had to ask the bride to pay for my dress. At that point, I figured I could stink it up for a few more hours just to see Elaine get married, and then I could drop off the wedding gift at the reception. By the way, if you want the greatest gift ever, something better than your marriage, than your children, better than anything you'll ever find in your life. And that's 100% guarantee and promise.
Go
to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite pod app, and search what, Sam?
Okay, story time.
For 2,000 episodes, 2,200 episodes, as Frank the Pug told me. 2,200 episodes of amazing, incredible content that you can binge to your heart's content. We're about to get into the grand finale of the story, and it could get ugly.
Let's see it.
Or beautiful. At the wedding reception, Elaine came up to me and pulled me aside. She told me that since she didn't think I would come to the wedding, she had canceled my meal and that I owed her $110 if I wanted to eat at her wedding, since it cost $110 per head to book. Even if, like, she was going to spend the $110 anyways.
Yeah.
Like, so
that doesn't make any sense. Also, like, you don't make your guests pay for your food unless that you explicitly say that beforehand. You can't like recoup it after.
Especially your sister. My God. I asked her why she had anticipated her own sister not attending her wedding, and she made it out like it was my fault. I told her that I didn't have to deal with this, and that if this is how she wanted to be, she can consider herself no longer my sister. All at the wedding. I left Elaine's wedding immediately and took my gift with me. It was just a bottle of wine and a card. My family texted me nonstop about how petty it was, how jealous I am of Elaine, etc., etc. So Reddit was right. My sister was trying to exclude me from her wedding. Thank you for that. I will now be going no contact with Elaine and my mother for their favoritism.
Honestly, definitely go low contact.
Yeah,
that was a big rigmarole.
Them collaborating to get you kicked out of the wedding is crazy.
So whack.